Well, tonight, an 11Alive News investigation reveals more than 200,000 metro area homes are getting their water from pipes that may contain lead. A new EPA rule requires all lead pipes to be identified and replaced in the next 10 years. But as investigator Savannah Levins explains, local water authorities say they still don't know what thousands of miles of service lines are made of.
This is really one of the last steps we have to take to get the biggest risks of lead out of our environments.
The federal government has started the clock, requiring all U.S. water systems to identify and replace any lead pipes by October 2034, a mandate that epidemiologist and Emory professor Dr. Carmen Marcet says was a long time coming.
Any kinds of exposures to lead, even at really low levels, have the chance to affect the developing brain.
The most vulnerable populations, children, pregnant women, and the elderly.
The way that they control their muscles, they walk, they move. It's also intelligence. ADHD has been linked to lead exposure. So I think a lot of these different outcomes that we think about in children can be related to some lead exposure.
Water systems were required to submit inventories of their service lines by October 2024, classifying them as lead, non-lead, or unknown. 11Alive News Investigates requested and received those reports from more than 24 systems in our viewing area. Not a single one reported having lead lines, but more than half, including Bartow, Atlanta, Clayton, Cobb, Commerce, DeKalb, Fulton, Monroe, Paulding, and Forsyth, reported more than 200,000 combined lines listed as lead status unknown. If you're on an unknown line, you may have received a letter like this notifying you.
An unknown just means we couldn't confirm at that time that our inventory was due what the material was.
Scott Adams is director of Forsyth County Water and Sewer. His department sent 6,300 of those letters.
Why are there unknown lines?
Well, it's just if we don't have the records, we haven't been able to put our eyes on them or haven't been able to have the customer tell us what they are yet.
Lead pipes were federally banned after 1986, so water systems only have to look at construction built before then. Many, like Forsyth and DeKalb, are asking residents to help decrease the number of unknowns by self-identifying their own lines.
You can go look for where it comes into your crawl space or your basement, but you might have to have a plumber to come out and help you find it. If it's an old pipe and you can't quite tell, you can put a magnet on it, and if a magnet doesn't stick to it, it's a plastic pipe. A magnet also won't stick to lead.
Adams says that prevents water systems from spending resources on potentially invasive inspections.
And we have to meet this EPA regulatory requirement. And if we have to go start digging holes in people's yards to investigate their service material, that's expensive for us.
Some systems like DeKalb County published websites where residents can see if they're on an unknown line. If you are, it doesn't necessarily mean you're being exposed to lead. We went to several homes on unknown lines and tested their tap water.
It's actually not bad. That one looks pretty good.
All the samples came back negative for lead.
We're continuing to work on those unknowns.
Savannah Levins, 11Alive News Investigates.
To see if your home is on a non-lead or unknown water line, look for this story on 11alive.com/investigates. We've linked all the inventory reports obtained by 11Alive News Investigates over the last 4 months.